So before I move forward and start talking about my presentation, I would like to give a quick overview of the topic of my presentation that I will be talking in the next upcoming slides. So firstly, we'll try to understand what is adolescence, and then the characteristic of adolescence. Then we'll go to the problem of adolescence, and then finally come to the topic of the role of teacher, in which we'll try to understand why a teacher is needed and how teachers can manage them. So let's start the presentation and try to understand where the what is adolescence. Actually, adolescence is a period of transition when individual changes physically and psychologically from a child to adult. It is a period when the rapid physical and psychological changes demand for a new social role to take place. The adolescents, due to these changes, often face a number of crises and dilemmas. It is a period when the child moves from dependency to autonomy. Adolescence is one of the most rapid phase of the human development. Biologically, maturity precedes psychosocial maturity. So, so now I think it's quite clear that what adolescence actually stand for. So let's move to the next slides. Mm, so which is here we'll try to understand the characteristic of adolescence. These are some characteristic of adolescence, like the rapid physical development. Adolescence is first of all a period of physical changes and development. Psychosociological development primarily convert the boy into a man. This and the mental development. It is also uh, emotional development, the seek to become increasingly independent, searching for adult identity and acceptance. One more very important characteristic of adolescents are hero worshipping. So, hero worshipping is a tendency of adolescents. Adolescent stage. It means that the adolescents start to identify themselves with an ideal hero whom they obey and follow. They admire and respect him. They organize their thoughts and activities with the conformity with the ideal of the hero. And the heterosexualities. Hetero Heterosexuality is means that uh, attraction for the opposite sex. Heterosexuality is another important characteristic of adolescence, and the self-centered attitudes. In this state, the adolescents have a very self-centered attitudes, and this and the last one is creative imagination. So let's. So I think it's very much clear about the characteristic of adolescents. What are the characteristics? That's like they go through the rapid physical development, their emotional development take place, mental development. There is a seek to become increasingly independent, hero worshipping, heterosexualities, self-centered behavior. These are some very important characteristic of adolescents. So now let's move to the next slides, and I think we all have talked about this topic in the previous slides. So now let's move to the next slides. The problem of adolescence. So what are the problem that is faced by the adolescents in the period of adolescence? So the first one is information overload. What it means by information overload? It means that in this stage, adolescents have a lot of information. They have a lot of options when it comes to choose uh, to take a decision. So what's happened that they find it difficult to choose one of the possible ways out of the many out of many possible out of many possible ways that they have. So they suffer from the information glut. And the second problem is the second and the most I think very important uh, problem that they face in this emotional problem. The third one is a drug and substance abuse. A substance use among adolescents occurs on a spectrum from experimentation to dependence. Experimentation with alcohol and drugs in adolescence is very common. I think you will be surprised to know that according to a research, 9 out of 10 people with a substance problem started using by age 18. So you can understand that's a how big problem is the drug and substance abuse. And the fourth one is suicidal tendency. As the many psychologists has termed this period as a stress or a strain. So to establish the identity, they go through a very tough stage, and they have a lot of pressure. So they have been seeing the very much suicidal tendencies in the adolescents. And the next one is unwanted pregnancy and sexually uh, transmitted disease. Actually, this is much a problem for the male adolescents as it is for the female. But generally, the girls stand a greater risk of this due to development of secondary sexual characteristic following adolescence. Teens feel a great push to explore and experiment with their bodies, and most sexually active adolescents are not fully informed about the contraceptions, pregnancy, sexually transmitted disease, including HIV infection. As a result of many fall victim of unwanted pregnancy and STDs, violence and gang membership. Gang membership is also a big problem in adolescence because adolescent in this period of adolescence, adolescents try to love to live in a gang. And the stress and the depression, we have all already talked about the stress and depression. uh, so I think it's very much clear about the problem of adolescents, the problem that is faced by adolescents in the period of adolescence. So now let's move to the next slides. Actually, we have all already talked about all these topics, so let's move forward. So now, role of a teacher. Actually, teachers have a vital role in handling the students of adolescent age because most of the students spend their time at school rather than at home. A teacher can succeed them to develop their skill in academically or socially, culturally, and spiritually sound citizen. Adolescent stage is a very difficult time in development, and it is a time of development, molding of a personality. So let's move to the next slide and try to understand the role of a teacher. The first role that is played by the teacher in the stage of adolescence is that the providing stable environment. What I mean by the providing stable environment, that as we all know that adolescence is a period of stress and strain. So it is a duty of a teacher at the school to provide this stable and conducive environment where child grows to its fullest. Now the second one is having proper knowledge of adolescent psych. I think teachers should understand the psychology of adolescents. That is, teachers should know that what all their students going through. They should keep the eye on the behavioral changes in the students and try to understand why this is happening to help their students to cope up with that. The next one is maintaining emotional. It means that the teacher need to train students that how to control and manage their emotions. The next one is rendering proper sex education because as we talked about the problem that is faced by the adolescents. One of the problem was unwanted pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases. So rendering proper sex education may prevent them to fall fall into this. So the next one is to take care of their special interest, because I know we know that all students are not same. Everybody have their different interests. So teachers should take care of their special interest, making aware about ill effect of drugs, antisocial behavior, eve teasing, because we know that the adolescence period are the period of exploration. They are very much the adolescents are very much experimental about their body and the things that and things that they see in their surrounding. Providing moral education. This one is also a very important role that is played by a teacher in the period of adolescence. And the last one is the guiding and counseling session. The teacher should should guide and organize a counseling session to understand the students' needs and their behavior, where they are on right path of life, or are getting derailed from their goals. So teachers should organize the guidance and counseling sessions. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.